What's going on, guys? So this video was kind of another one that was all over the place, and it starts off with a time lapse of us pulling the B18 out of Tyler's Integra. Now, there was a bunch of footage that went along with that engine pull, but to be honest with you, going through it, it was just way too hard for me to follow the footage, and I didn't want to bore you guys with us just doing with us just pulling an engine. You know, it's not the most exciting thing. A time lapse is really cool to watch, but we didn't give our best performance, and it's like 30 minutes of us fucking around because it was our first time pulling an engine on an Integra. So I would show it to you guys because that's real, but it's boring as all hell, and I wouldn't want to watch it. So I'll show you guys the time lapse, and then we'll continue on with the video. You guys will see what we do. But yeah, it's boring, and that sometimes happens when you're pulling engines. There's a learning curve for every car. There was a learning curve on that B18. We ended up having to pull it out a way that we didn't intend because the tranny mount was just a lot different from the other Hondas that we've worked with. So that's the truth. The content, the footage wasn't worth showing to you guys because it wasn't smooth. It was a lot of us just being dumb because there was a learning curve. And although it would be real of me to show you that, it would be boring. So I'm just gonna tell you guys that in advance, and then I'll roll the time lapse. So hope you guys enjoy the video.
Well, it's the next morning. We got the motor out. We're both really tired. We stayed up pretty late. This thing took forever. Normally we can get an engine out. With the Prelude, we got in and out. Both took like 40 minutes.
Yeah, the Prelude is a piece of cake, but we've also done the Preludes before.
This thing is a little bit different. And if you look right here, this mount, what we suspect, the whole motor ended up coming like that,
yeah,
and dragging out here, which seemed to be the only way that we could get it.
Yeah, so this tranny mount right here was proving to be a little bit of a challenge. We couldn't remove the mount, which is normally what we do. We normally just take the entire mount off, and usually the mounts on Hondas that we pull is not actually attached right here. It's usually bolted on sort of like this. I think you guys know what I'm saying. But this engine, it kind of had to, like, it was sitting like this, and it kind of just had to like that, you know what I mean? And you'll see it in the video. Well, you already did because this is in the future now, but it's out. We're good to go. Pretty sweet engine. B18 A1 overall, pretty cool. Excited to rebuild it.
Hopefully it's rebuildable.
It's rebuildable. Yeah. Anything's rebuildable.
Well, I'm just hoping the block doesn't have a bunch of gashes in it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, we'll get back to y'all when something cool happens. This dude's wearing a BMW shirt working on a fucking Integra.
All right, so we got the transmission off. We tried to put the engine on the stand. Engine didn't go on the stand. We got to get some spacers and some bolts and stuff, and then we'll put the engine on the stand. But here it is, B18A1. It's pretty much it. There's not really much I can say without tearing it apart, and can't do that today, so.
Tranny is off, ready to go. We ended up taking off the exhaust too, and also the wiring harness, but honestly, I'm pretty excited to tear this thing down, man. I've torn apart the B20 A5s, but not a B18. It's a little bit newer. I'm pretty excited to tear this thing apart. So the next thing on our list is probably to get this thing bolted up, and then, I mean, for engine things, probably the next thing we'll be doing is pulling the engine out of the Prelude again. And then, yeah, maybe we'll tear down that B20 A5 too.
Wait, what are we doing?
Oh, wait.
We're taking the head
tearing
off.
apart a B20A5 engine. That's right, guys. On today's episode, we are tearing apart a Honda B20A5 4-cylinder engine. I'm really excited to get into this teardown. This will be my third teardown that I've done on this particular B series, the first B series, also known as the Bastard B series. This one is really a treat to tear down. Today we're gonna really be diving into the great history of Honda as we look at the automotive excellence that we have here presented before us today. So I hope you guys enjoy. We're gonna get straight into the teardown. Peace out. Yo, what's going on, guys? So I think the last thing that was in the video was the engine pull, I believe. And right now, it's been a second since we've actually recorded something, but we actually have a couple new things here that I would like to show you guys. No new cars, just some tools. We got a new welder here, just the $200 one. It's a flux welder. Pretty solid so far. How would you rate it? I'm not experienced in welding. We picked it up for $200 at Harbor Freight. You can't beat the price for the performance that it's done so far. I mean, it's not the prettiest welds, but they seem to be doing the job. And we actually picked it up to start fixing the front end on the Prelude. But to gain some XP in the job, I'm replacing this little piece right here. So in order to get this piece off, what you have to do is drill out 40 something spot welds and then use this tool that I have right here and separate the panels, and then we should be able to put on the other black panel from the parts car. I've already got that removed over there. I just need to get it prepared for welding. And then yeah, so we'll get this panel off, fix this little bit of rust, or at least do the best we can to fix it, and then we'll weld the new piece on and we'll see how it looks, and then we'll get started on the front end. So the Prelude might be back on the road here pretty soon. So yesterday or the day before, we missed out on an 86 Civic Si that we were gonna part out. All right, guys, so we're here. We got the trailer and everything, and then we decided not to buy it. The price wasn't right. I'd rather take the L on the gas and the trailer than pay what they're asking for it. So unfortunately, it just isn't meant to be. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes you got to be willing to lose and take a risk on something, and we did that here today. So now we'll spend the rest of the night taking our time home, and we'll offer everybody we see on the side of the road with a Civic, we'll offer them whatever we're willing to pay for it. So yeah, we'll update you guys if we find anything cool. No title. Dude wanted way too much, so we passed up on it. Ended up driving around 2 hours away from our house. We had a trailer, no car. We were driving around, we stumbled across an Integra. All right, y'all, so we just pulled over on could have been 90 or 9 DB8 Integra. Doesn't matter the year. DB8 Integra, 4-door, decent body, right? Not too bad. We knock on the dude's door. He comes out. We start talking, blah, 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 blah. It's an Integra sedan. It's not bad. It's got like 170K on it, whatever. He pops the hood, and the first thing I notice is obviously it's got VTEC, okay? It's got the GSR intake manifold, and it's got a VTEC head. Wipe off the stamp, not a B18C, just a regular B20V, which isn't horrible, but if it was a B18C, very good. It's still got VTEC, so very good. So it's a B20V Integra, pretty solid. We just talked to him for probably like what, an hour almost.
Yeah, literally an hour.
He didn't have the title on hand. He called his ex up, whatever, got the title, but he's gotta think about it. Is basically the bottom line. He's gotta think about it. He's had the car for the past 10 years, so it's obviously not going to be something that he's willing to let go very easily.
He said he drove 8 of his kids home from the hospital in that car.
Yeah.
So definitely some sentimental value into it.
So we will see what happens with that. We're gonna keep looking and see if we can find a Honda in this neighborhood that we are just randomly in. If we can, cool. If we can't, whatever, we came across an Integra that we'll probably end up buying if it's a good deal. But yeah. Lo and behold, it was a B20V swapped Integra. That, I think we did record that, right? So that is in the video. So we stumbled across that. Has he got back to you? Hasn't got back to him. So as of right now, we don't know what the word is on that. The word on the Prelude is that I'm getting distracted because we just picked this.
Go. Now we gotta fucking get the whole run up so it doesn't seem weird. Wait, hold on, fucking screen grab. Biggest smile you got.
All right, so we're here. EG, new engine. Let's get to it. So I'm telling the full story now. All right, so basically what happened is yesterday we went to go and check out an 86 Civic Si, and it was a bust. We ended up wasting the money on the trailer and didn't get anything. So we spent the rest of our night driving around the city we were in looking for cars, and we found an Integra. Actually, you guys saw that. The Integra was honestly pretty sick. It had a B20V in it. It was a sedan. It was honestly modded pretty well. It was a Texas car too, so pretty minimal rust. But yeah, we haven't gotten back. He hasn't gotten back to us. So yeah. Anyways, today was a new day. I'm driving down the road. Out of the corner of my eye, I see an EG hatch. And I pull over, I go knock on the door. He answers. I'm like, hey, how much you want for the car? He shoots me a number. We start talking. It runs and drives perfectly fine. He started it up. It was good. I just needed to put wheels on it. The rear wheels were both flat. So I came over, got wheels on it, drove it home. And it was driving fine. The brakes were honestly not good, but it's a Honda, so if you're careful, you're fine. And I tried to hit VTEC, and it just white smoke out the rear end. And then I get home, oil, not looking good. This is the oil. It looks like it's really over full, but if you see it and you look at the consistency, you can tell that it's more. It's not just oil. It's something else mixed in there.
Did you check the coolant?
There's no coolant in it now.
There's no coolant in it.
Yep, there's no coolant in it now. And then if you look at this oil cap, so the car sat for at least probably 2 years. Nasty. So we're gonna get this motor out of here and rebuild it. It should be an easy rebuild. It didn't overheat or anything.
But for now,
we have a fully refreshed Z6 by the man behind the camera. I'll let him explain what he did.
I took this out of a 1993 Honda Del Sol SI. It's a VTEC P28 Z6. That's pretty much it. Did the water pump, timing belt, everything for a refresh, but I didn't rebuild the motor. So this was gonna go in my green coupe, but we got parts for this right now. I'm waiting on parts for the green coupe. So here we go.
It works out. We're gonna throw this engine in, rebuild that engine, and then it's just convenient, and it works out that we can just swap them out. So one Z6 for another. Hopefully that one runs.
Yeah, I never compression tested it.
So we'll see. It should be good though, but yeah, this should be pretty quick.
It's pretty quick.
Pretty quick. We'll hope. Yeah.
I can't help myself, 'cause my friend says in real life, it's only to believe that it will come looking for you. Are you falling in love? Have you seen anyone? Are you falling in love with a feeling? Are you falling in love? But I'm a feeling hard. Think I'm falling in love with a feeling. You know that, you know you're just
All right, guys, so it's in the car. This is Z6 and an EGCX. It's a sleeper yo.
All right, so we're ready to start with the new engine in. It's about 10 o'clock the next day since the car was picked up. So old engine is out, new engine is in, everything's hooked up. In order to see if it will start, we still need to get the coolant lines and the axles and everything hooked up, but everything to see if it runs and doesn't knock or anything is hooked up. So we did take a risk throwing this motor in, but we're about to see here how it sounds if it starts. So yeah, well, that'll be coming up here in about 2 seconds.
All right. Had to tighten up some stuff on the fuel filter. Primed?
Yeah.
Good to go. Let's fucking go. Fucking Honda, man. That's some sweet shit.
One day.
Misfired. It's a fresh engine.
We kill it. So it's the next day. I'm about to have the sedan sold. So I am swapping the exhaust manifold out with this new EG that we have, because the EG came with just a stock manifold. But this daily back here, the sedan had a little manifold on it, so we pulled it off. I'm gonna swap it over and then get this thing put back together, and hopefully we'll be driving it soon. So then we'll be working on the Prelude. This is the last thing that I'm going to let distract me before I finish off the Prelude, but this will give me enough fun for the summer that I can take my time with the Prelude and still enjoy fall with a nice car that has VTEC. So this pretty much wraps up the video. The EG is vacuumed out and I have all of the parts here in the trunk, which having a hatchback is going to be super nice. I mean, this thing came with the cargo cover, and it's cool to have it because it's all OEM and whatnot, but man, when you take this cargo cover out, you have quite a big trunk to store things in. And then you put the seats down. Guys, we could fit an engine in the back of here, no problem. But yeah, we got all this stuff. I hear a couple Hondas actually, funnily enough. So perfect timing. We're gonna be wrapping up the video, and yeah, I'll let you guys go for this one. But it's been the Honda gang. The EG will be getting put together soon. Hopefully the start of next video will just be a nice little time lapse of us putting these parts on. Any last words?
If you burn oil, subscribe.